So for today's pho, we're going to use 2 young chickens. Each of them is about 4 pounds. What I did is I washed it thoroughly with salt and vinegar. I took off the chicken breast. So here's the chicken breast. I'm going to poach this. We're going to use that as topping for our pho. I cut off the chicken wings. I'm going to use those for a chicken wing night. So I'm going to freeze those up. So the chicken breast is going to be for the topping. I leave everything on. I just cut off some excess fat and everything, but I'm leaving the thighs, all this meat on here. That's what's going to make the broth super flavorful, very chickeny flavor. And then this one I will poach. I'll show you the easiest way to poach chicken. So here are our other ingredients to make chicken pho today. We need 2 large onions and 2 large ginger pieces. We're gonna char those. I'm gonna do that on open fire. That's when it develops the flavor the most. You can do it in a broiler or on a pan too. I have half a daikon here, and this is 1 package of all the seasoning that you need to make pho. It looks like this. It has anise seed, cinnamon, fennel seed, clove, coriander seeds. Everything ready. It has a bag for you to put in, and we're gonna toast those to develop some flavors as well. So that's all the ingredients you need. You need 1 gallon of water, and we use the 8-quart Instapot today. The onions and the ginger, I char them over open fire if possible. I'm using the side burner of my barbecue. If you have a gas oven, gas stove at home, that would be great. If open fire is not an option, you can char the ginger and the onion under broil setting in a toaster oven for about 15 to 20 minutes to get almost the same results. Once it's toasted, set the onions and the ginger aside to cool. Once cooled, rinse under cold water and remove the charred skin. The next step, you will toast all of the dry ingredients, the pho seasoning package ingredients. You want to do that over medium to medium low heat. You do not want to skip this step because this will bring out some amazing aroma and flavors that are quintessential pho. While you're toasting them, make sure that you keep the aromatics moving around in your pans so they do not burn. This should take you about 6 to 7 minutes. Once it's toasted, put all of the dry aromatics in a tea bag. Now let's add all of the ingredients to your Instant Pot. The chicken, the cut up daikon, the charred ginger and onion, as well as the bag with all of the toasted dry aromatics. This is the 8-quart Instapot. This is exactly 1 gallon of filtered water. You want to set your Instapot on high pressure for 45 minutes. Once the 45 minutes is over, allow it to naturally release for 10 minutes, then release manually the remaining pressure. Now while the broth is cooking, we will poach the chicken breast. I am showing you the easiest method to poach chicken breast. It will always come out perfectly and it's never dry. What you want to do is you want to add the chicken breast to a pot of cold water. Turn on the stove and bring the pot to a light boil. You don't want it on a heavily rolling boil. You just want it on a light boil. Once it's on a light boil, you want to set the timer for 5 minutes. Once the 5 minutes is over, you want to turn off the heat. You put on the lid and you set the timer for 25 minutes. The chicken will cook perfectly in the residual heat. If your chicken breast is very thick, you may want to let it cook for 30 minutes. But by cooking it in this passive way, there's almost no risk of overcooking the meat. It will be perfectly juicy. Now the chicken broth should be done. I am going to strain the chicken broth through a strainer. I usually put a paper towel in the strainer as well, just to remove some excess fat and impurities. Then I season the broth with 1/4 cup of rock sugar and 1/4 cup of fish sauce. My daughter's favorite part about helping me cook is to put in all of the ingredients in the pot, as you can see. Now, I highly recommend adding a bunch of green onions to the broth, just the white part only, the bottom part. This will add some beautiful natural sweetness to the broth. If you've ever done so, you will never go back, you will never go without it. And in this video log, I'm also adding some frozen homemade chicken meatballs called Poaching in Vietnamese. If you're interested in making them, I will have the link to the recipe on how to make them at home. Now you bring the broth to a boil for about 5 minutes and then it is ready to serve. Okay, let's talk about the toppings for any kind of pho dish. In Vietnam, you cannot have pho without the garnishes. So we have green onions, cilantro. This one is called a sawtooth coriander. I think that's why they call it a sawtooth coriander, because of the edges. Of course, we have Thai basil, jalapenos, lime. You definitely need lime. And shallots or sweet onion or red onion works just as fine. So the onions, I slice it up really thin. I actually soak it up in cold water just to take the edge away a little bit. Here we have sliced up jalapeno and lime. And then here is the cilantro, basil, sawtooth coriander, and the green onions all chopped up really small. I like to put that into the assembled bowl just because it adds so much flavor. Do not use mint. That changes the taste of pho. That's not authentic. So make sure you have all of the sides. It doesn't work. For me, pho doesn't work without these garnishes.